Hi, I'm Faisal Omeg.
And I'm Greg Jefferson.
And we're feigning this enthusiasm so that you'll like our video on the internet. Please do that and subscribe. All right, thanks to Massdrop, they supplied us with this really cool Nikon stuff, zoom lens, camera.
That 50mm prime.
Yeah, so we're just going to use this to show you guys, how photography works. But they've got a really cool community over there, and they utilize the power of group buys to save you guys lots of money on cool things. Everything's curated. It's not just cameras; they've got electronics and gadgets. So go ahead and check out the link in the description, and thanks to them.
We've got a couple of videos that we're working on. One is a basic photography video that we assume that you've already seen that one.
You better have seen it or I'll punch you.
This one's about zoom lenses and prime lenses.
Yeah.
But we're going to use a lot of the basic terminology that we used in the other videos. So if you don't know any of this stuff, go watch that video and then come back and watch this one.
Yeah.
This one we're going to talk a little bit more about some other things, but the one term that we haven't used yet is lens distortion.
Lens distortion. There's a couple different types of lens distortion.
We've got extension distortion and compression distortion.
Yeah, I think the fastest and easiest way to do this is to show it. And if you notice in the first picture, this is a picture taken at a very wide angle. And as you can see, the background is very spaced out. It's almost stretched. Then when we zoom all the way into 120 millimeters, the background suddenly comes forward. There's some distortion, like the background creeps up on you. And you may have seen some of these pictures on the internet when you see like this giant mountain that's looming over a city. Then when you go to the city, you're like, that mountain's really far away. Well, they used a really long lens that forced the compression distortion, and then that made the mountain look like it was on top of the city. Anyway, all these lenses, the primes and the zoom lenses, are all going to have this distortion at the different focal lengths.
What we're mainly talking about in this video is prime lenses versus zoom lenses and use case scenarios. Why would you choose a prime over a zoom? Why is a zoom? You think a zoom is great because you've got 24mm. This one here is a 24 to 120. You've got all of those focal ranges, where this lens you've only got a 50. Now, you could get a 50, a 24, a 40, an 85, 100, 120. You can get all these different lenses, then you have to carry like 8 lenses with you, which is great because usually your prime lenses have less glass. They allow more light in. You can usually get them at a lower f-stop.
A zoom lens is going to offer you a ton of flexibility in one package. This is like 5 or 6 lenses in one, and it's on the fly. So if my kid's over there playing soccer and he's way over there, I can zoom in on him, get a good shot. And let's say he runs all the way across the field and now he's close to me, I can zoom back out and still get a shot without having to fumble around and change my lenses. This is always ready to go.
So the prime lens, you don't have the flexibility of a zoom lens, but you'll get a better image, generally speaking. You'll have a better focus, your sharpness across the entire lens. You won't have any lens aberrations on some of the outer ranges. Some zoom lenses have the outer side is slightly out of focus, where the center of your frame is in focus.
You see some of those issues with some prime lenses as well, depending on the quality of the prime lens and also depending on your f-stop, but by and large, the prime lens is going to be sharper all the way across. This is a really nice zoom lens. And one thing that's nice about this one is the maximum aperture
is constant.
It's constant. Always, it always stays f4. The cheaper ones, and a lot of the kit lenses that you're going to get with some of the cheaper cameras, well, they're not constant, they're not static. As you zoom, the aperture actually gets a little higher. So it'll start at like, an f3.5 right here, all the way zoomed out. And then as you zoom in, it will actually go up to f5.6, and that'll be your maximum aperture, meaning that you'll not be able to shoot in very low light conditions. And also it'll make the background not quite as beautifully blurry.
Now that has to do with the fact that the zoom lenses have a lot more elements inside the actual lens itself. So these, being that they've got fewer pieces of glass, you can get a wider aperture. You can get a really nice bokeh because you can open that aperture all the way up and you get a really nice depth of field.
The lower the aperture, typically the better the camera is going to be in a low light scenario, but there's more to it than that.
It also means that when you're taking a photo, if you put this is a 1.4, your maximum aperture at 1.4, you open it all the way up, your depth of field shrinks, which means you're going to have a lot of bokeh. Zoom lenses generally can't do that as well as a prime lens.
So if you want to take just lots of really cool pictures of your friends and have the background just be a beautiful blur of colors, or if it's black and white, just a beautiful blur of texture, well, a prime lens may be what you want to go with. Another thing you have to really think about is if you're shooting with a long lens, whether it's a long prime lens or a telephoto zoom, you're going to want to make sure that you have a lot of light, or else the handshake, as you're shaking your hands, the more that's going to be translated into your shots, and you may get some of those blurry shots. Now, some of the more expensive lenses are going to have image stabilization, or sometimes they call it VR, which is vibration reduction, depending on the brand you go with. And also some of the longer primes are going to have that too, but they're going to be the more expensive ones. if you're going to be shooting a lot in lower light and you want a longer focal range, it is absolutely necessary, or else your pictures are going to be blurry.
Now, like this 50mm prime does not have image stabilization. Now this lens, you can turn it on. It does have
this one has
vibration reduction.
Vibration reduction, which is Nikon's
Which means that
term.
even at 50 or at 24mm, you can turn that on and it will help reduce some of that camera shake.
It may be at the cost of a little bit of quality, but I've not noticed much with my own eyes. All right, so you guys can find us over in the forums at techsyndicate.com. Hope you guys are enjoying these camera videos. Let us know what you guys want to see, and if you have any questions, feel free to come over there and let us know. I'm also curious to know what you guys are, doing. What's your shooting style? So let us know all these things.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How, in this kind of video, other than a couple of random still frames, can we accurately portray lens distortion?
Yeah, I have no idea, really. I don't know. So now a zoom lens offers you flexibility in a single package. A zoom lens.